The previous 3 videos in this series talked about the basics of attachment theory, why it's healthy to depend on your partner, and how to identify your attachment style and the style of the people you date. Now we're going to discuss the anxious attachment style, including what it's like to have it and what you can do to make your dating life much easier. And if you find that you're always having rocky relationships or that everyone you meet is emotionally unavailable, keep watching because we'll talk about why that is and what you can do about it. People with the anxious attachment style have a super sensitive attachment system. They pick up on even slight problems in the relationship and are unable to calm down until they get a clear indication from their partner that they're still going to be there for them and the relationship is safe. They can read people's facial cues more quickly and accurately than other types. However, they are prone to jump to conclusions with too little information, and when they do this, they may misinterpret people's emotional state. I experienced this all the time in a previous relationship. My ex would say something to me and I would get some sort of facial expression as I was considering what was said. She immediately assumed I didn't like what she said and would get mad at me. After thinking about it for a brief moment, I would decide I agreed with what she said, but it was already too late. She was certain I was just hiding the way I really felt and wouldn't listen to anything I said to the contrary. The lesson that people with an anxious attachment style need to learn from this is that if they simply hold off on making a judgment until they have more information, they'll actually be better than the other types at reading the emotions of the people around them. Once the attachment system of a person with the anxious attachment style is activated, their thoughts and feelings are focused entirely on re-establishing closeness with their partner. These thoughts are known as activating strategies, and they won't stop until they feel connected again. Once they feel secure in their relationship, they'll calm down and go back to their normal self. Some common activating strategies include believing that your partner is your only chance for love, so you better make it work, sticking with the relationship because you believe you can change your partner, and thinking that all couples have problems, so the constant unhappiness is totally normal. You'll remember just your partner's good qualities, and you'll put them on a pedestal where you're thinking highly of them and lowly of yourself. You have difficulty focusing on things other than the relationship, and this anxiety doesn't go away unless you're in contact with them. All these activation strategies push you to get closer to your partner and fix whatever the break was that set you off to begin with. This means that oftentimes you'll forgive whatever happened and compromise whatever you need to get back that feeling of closeness. People with anxious attachment tend to have very sensitive attachment systems and find that they get attached very quickly. When they detect even the slightest bit of unhappiness on their partner's face, or they realize that their partner hasn't called or texted in a while, they start to worry. Their mind immediately goes to what they may have done wrong. They don't assume that the unhappy expression is because of the result of something happening in other areas of their life, and they don't assume that the reason that they haven't called is because it's a busy day at work. They assume that their partner is mad at them, cheating on them, or that something is wrong with the relationship. At this point, the anxious partner seeks reassurance. She might ask her partner if he still loves her, or he might send a text trying to reestablish contact with his partner. If the partner responds positively or texts back, then all will be well with the person with the anxious attachment style and they'll go on with their day as normal. But if the person doesn't give the right response, or they don't call or text back, then the anxious attachment system revs up and they start to panic. Now they start to assume that the reason why their partner is upset is because they no longer love them and is planning to leave them. Or the reason why they didn't answer their text is because they're sleeping with their boss. Now the anxious partner might get angry and start a fight, or send dozens of texts a few minutes apart trying to force their partner to respond. Until the anxious partner gets reassurance, they'll continue to panic and get more and more upset. When the partner does finally say the right thing, the anxious partner might be so upset as to act hostile and refuse to accept that their partner was upset about something else or couldn't respond because they were in a meeting. Once their attachment system is activated, anxious people are likely to exhibit protest behavior. Protest behavior is anything that tries to reestablish contact and forces you to notice them. Common forms of protest behavior include threatening to end the relationship, pretending to be busy or ignore your partner even though you're thinking about them constantly, and delaying a call or a text just because they didn't respond to your text as quickly as you would have liked. Protest behavior also includes hostility, like rolling your eyes or refusing to look at them, as well as excessive calling or texting in an effort to reestablish contact when you're apart. Protest behavior and activating strategies can cause you to behave in ways that make the relationship tougher. Many of the activating strategies cause you to give up on your own needs, and many of the protest behaviors actually hinder closeness when all you want is to feel close and secure again. Even after the relationship is over, the protest behavior may continue. The heartache that comes from a breakup is caused by our attachment systems and their unwillingness to let us be alone. Even though we logically realize that someone is bad for us, we don't want to let them go. The process of letting go of an ex is harder for someone with an anxious attachment system than any other type. Research has shown that the emotion-related areas of the brain are more activated in people with the anxious attachment style when thinking about negative relationship scenarios than in people that have other attachment styles. Also, the areas of the brain associated with emotional regulation, such as the orbitofrontal cortex, are less active in people that have the anxious attachment style, and so they're less able to calm their negative emotions once they've started. One of the best things a person with an anxious attachment style can do is learn to recognize people with an avoidant attachment style and avoid dating them if at all possible. People with an avoidant attachment style are going to constantly aggravate the anxious person, thereby resulting in a rocky relationship filled with worry and misery. But there's a trap you have to watch out for. Studies have shown that anxious people are most attracted to avoidance, and avoidants are most attracted to people with the anxious attachment style. Both sides are most attracted to the people that drive them crazy. This might seem odd at first, but it makes sense when you think about it. These two attachment styles reinforce one another, but unfortunately in an unhealthy way. Each reaffirms the other's beliefs both about themselves and about relationships. The avoidant gets confirmation that they're strong and independent, and also that other people are weak, needy, and trying to trap them in a relationship. The anxious person gets verification that their needs scare people away, and also that their partners won't be there for them when they're really needed. Both types are attracted to the familiarity of having their negative views of relationships verified. This next part is critical for anyone that has an anxious attachment system. What happens to many people with an anxious attachment style is they end up associating the activation of their attachment system with love. Early in the relationship, they start to get mixed signals which cause them to obsess about the relationship. Sometimes their partner treats them well or does something romantic which gets their heart racing. Then later, their partner acts in such a way that fills the anxious person with uncertainty as to whether their partner is interested at all. This roller coaster between highs and lows is very exciting, very dramatic, and gets the anxious person thinking and talking about their relationship constantly. This isn't love, but many anxious people think it is. This means they've taught themselves to be the most attracted to the people that are the least likely to make them happy. The sooner you realize this, the sooner you can seek to avoid people that have this effect on you. If you have an anxious attachment system and only seem to ever have rocky relationships, there's a good chance you're mistaking the roller coaster of highs and lows with passionate love. Good relationships are peaceful and relaxing. You feel stronger and more sure of yourself when you're in a good relationship. If your relationship is causing you to worry and obsess, then it's not healthy. Let's dive a bit deeper into why avoidant partners are so unhealthy for people with an anxious attachment style. To begin with, anxious people need the most amount of reassurance in a relationship, and avoidant people, in an effort to avoid feeling too close, are the least likely to give it and the most likely to be insulting. Because anxious people easily feel rejected, these insults hit them harder than other types. Anxious people need to know where they stand, and avoidant people tend to send mixed signals, sometimes showing the person that they're loved and other times making them feel unloved. Anxious people want more than anything to feel close to someone, and avoidant people are made uncomfortable by that. Because the anxious are hesitant to ask for what they want, they need someone that can read their cues, and avoidants are the worst at that skill. Now you might be thinking that trying to date non-avoidant people sounds great, but where are they? It seems like everyone you meet is avoidant. There is some truth to that. In fact, when you look at most dating advice, it's geared specifically to attract avoidants. So why is that? Well, the first thing you have to consider is that avoidant people are the least likely type to make a relationship work. Because they're constantly deactivating their emotional attachment system, they find it easier to walk away from a relationship than other types. They're the most likely to divorce, the most likely to cheat, and need the least amount of time to recover from a breakup and re-enter the dating pool. So the result is avoidants are single and looking much more frequently than the other types. Secure people, by contrast, find relationships to be easy. It doesn't take them long to find someone to settle down with, and their relationships tend to work out. If two people with healthy relationship mindsets find each other and get into a serious relationship, it's very likely that they'll remain together and out of the dating pool forever. Finally, because avoidant people are so aloof and put so little effort into maintaining relationships, it's very unlikely that two avoidant people will remain together for long. Those relationships tend to end quickly and are not serious enough to keep either party out of the dating pool. This means if you're anxious, you're likely to encounter avoidant people at a significantly higher rate than you would expect, given that they're only 25% of the population. Secure people tend to disappear off the market quickly, which is why I found that recently divorced people are disproportionately likely to make good partners. If someone's been single for a decade, then they likely have some things going on with them that make relationships difficult. If someone only just got back into the dating pool after a long relationship, then there's a good chance that they're secure and the relationship didn't work out for other reasons. I'm certainly not saying that all divorced people are good catches. After all, they might be the very reason that the relationship didn't work out. But a lot of relationships are made up of one secure partner and one avoidant partner, and these are the relationships most likely to end in divorce. After all, if both parties had been avoidant, they never would have gotten together to begin with. So the mere fact that they were together for that long strongly indicates that at least one party was secure. So if you're anxious, finding a secure partner is critical. They do make up half the population, but they still can be hard to find. Why is that? Because not only are many already in healthy relationships, the ones that aren't fly under your radar. It's not that you haven't met them, it's that you haven't recognized them. Here's the problem. Because anxious people have learned to associate butterflies in the stomach with love, when they meet a secure person, they'll often say that the spark is missing or that there's no chemistry. That's right. When they finally meet someone that's good for them and can show them real love, they conclude that the person is too boring to date. Secure people are honest and straightforward. They're not afraid of intimacy, and they're willing to tell you that they love you and to say it often. This means there's a lack of tension and suspense and few, if any, alarm bells going off. For an anxious person that thinks the roller coaster of highs and lows is what love is, they're going to be bored and think this can't be love. If you're finding this video interesting, make sure you give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment telling me about an avoidant person you've dated. We've already talked about why anxious people shouldn't date avoidant people, so let's dive into why they should date secure people. Secure people are going to behave in the opposite way as avoidant people in some very critical ways. We mentioned that anxious people are the type that need the most reassurance in a relationship, and secure people are happy to give it. They're comfortable sharing their feelings and showing affection. Because anxious people easily feel rejected, the consistent messages of love that secure people send will make the anxious person feel comfortable and calm down their attachment system. The anxious person needs to know where they stand, and secure partners are clear in their communication. Anxious people want more than anything to feel close to someone, and secure partners are more than happy to provide. Because the anxious are hesitant to ask for what they want, they need someone that can read their cues. Secure people prioritize their partners while working hard to read cues and provide what is needed. So now you realize if you're anxious, you need to find a secure partner and avoid avoidant ones. But you may not have had much luck doing this so far. Why is that? It's because much of the common dating advice out there is absolutely terrible. You'll hear things like, don't call him, but wait for him to call you. Don't say that you like him, but wait for him to say it first. Don't be too available, but instead focus on appearing strong and independent. The thing is, if these are not your natural behaviors, you're sending the wrong message. You're not being yourself, and thus not going to attract someone that likes you for the real you, and you're far less likely to get your needs met because you're hiding the fact that you even have any. The problem is, this advice is catered to attract one very specific type of partner. This advice is catered to attract people with the avoidant attachment style. In other words, this advice is designed to make you as appealing as possible to the least affectionate type of partner that makes for the least close relationships. If you want a close partnership with someone that isn't afraid of intimacy, why would you try to appeal to the 25% of the population that doesn't want that? Good dating advice would tell you to intentionally repulse these people so you can quickly screen them out and focus your attention on the much larger portion of the population that does enjoy intimacy. Even if you do follow the traditional dating advice, eventually you're going to get caught. You'll be unhappy in the relationship and you'll seek greater intimacy over time in an effort to get your needs met. When you do finally seek this intimacy, the avoidant person will pick up on it because they're hypersensitive to people that impinge on their sense of freedom and independence. The closer you try and get, the more they'll pull away, causing all kinds of problems in your relationship. It's far better to repulse these people quickly before you can get too attached to them and start a relationship with someone that can meet your intimacy needs. I know this goes against everything you've ever been taught. I'm literally telling you to be purposefully unattractive to a portion of the population. The reason you believe love is hard is because you've been trying to find it with people who are avoidant. If you push these people away so that the relationship never has a chance to take off, you'll find that only secure and anxious people are attracted to you. This will save you tons of heartache. What this means is sharing your feelings and expressing your needs freely. When you do this to a non-avoidant person, they respond positively. Good partners like meeting your needs. I was recently giving advice to someone going through this situation. She wanted to express her needs, but was worried it would scare the guy away. I told her there are only two outcomes to this situation, and both of them are positive. The first is that she'll express her needs, and the man will respond positively. He'll take her needs seriously and make an effort to fulfill them. The second outcome is that he'll be turned off and refuse to meet her needs. This is also a good outcome because it lets her know very early on in the relationship that this man has no intention of meeting her needs. This is extremely valuable information. Imagine how much heartache you could save and how many fights you could avoid if you had a magic wand that would tell you which people are interested in meeting your needs and which ones are not. Well, you do have that magic wand. It's called honest communication. When you say what you want in no uncertain terms, you'll discover that you're either with someone that will meet your needs or you'll scare off people that refuse. Expressing your needs and sharing your feelings is like bug repellent for avoidance, so spray them in the face with it every chance you get. If you're anxious, you can't get rid of these people fast enough. So we've talked about common dating advice that's bad for people with an anxious attachment style, so what's some good advice? The first is learning to recognize avoidance and avoid dating them. What are the clues you're looking for? Things like having matter-of-fact discussions with you when you're trying to discuss your feelings. Avoidants often avoid feelings entirely and just discuss the facts. They ignore your needs even when they're expressed and often seem clueless that they're hurting you or letting you down. They talk about wanting a romantic relationship with the one, but they're constantly finding faults with everyone, including you. They're unclear about their feelings towards you, sometimes being loving and sometimes being cold. And finally, they use words like needy or clingy and accuse you of overreacting or being too sensitive. These are massive red flags. Normal people don't call their partners needy. Of course you have needs. You're supposed to have needs. Only avoidant partners criticize you for having needs and call you needy. So definitely watch out for that and run from anyone that uses that word. On that note, the next piece of dating advice is to accept that you have needs. Instead of trying to change yourself to meet the needs of your partner, focus on finding someone that can meet your needs. Don't feel bad that you don't feel whole unless you're in a relationship. Don't let anyone call you weak or needy just because you crave security, intimacy, and availability in a partner. Know what your needs are and look for people that can fulfill them. Also, express those needs. The goal is to have a conversation relatively early on about what you need. If you need to talk every day and know that your partner is always available to you if you need them, then let them know exactly that. This is a good idea for two reasons. First, you can quickly screen out people that can't or won't meet your needs. Second, you'll be your most attractive when you're going after and getting your needs met compared to hiding your needs and suffering through the relationship. The next tip is to change your scarcity mindset that love is hard to find. Recognize that while avoidants make up an outsized portion of the dating pool because they're often single and available more than other types, they still only make up 25% of the population and there are plenty of other people out there. Be willing to date around and not settle too early on any one person in a relationship. And let go of the idea that it's hard to find a good partner and so that this person you're with now is the last person you can ever find love with. Dating multiple people at once, at least at first, makes it more difficult for your attachment system to lock on and obsess about just one person. People that don't meet your needs can be removed from your dating pool very quickly. Dating multiple people at once will show you that many people are interested in you, so you don't have to hold on to the bad ones or blame yourself as being unlovable when something goes wrong. It also empowers you to remove the avoidant people faster and more easily. Finally, when you do like someone, you won't obsess so quickly or engage in protest behavior so often when they don't meet your uncommunicated needs quickly enough. The last tip is to learn to recognize and appreciate secure partners. Don't discard them just because you feel bored. The lack of drama may seem boring at first, but that's only because you've learned to associate the highs and lows with love and think that a calm relationship indicates a lack of chemistry. Do you have an anxious attachment style or a relationship story to share? Tell us about it in the comments below. In the 5th video in this series, we'll talk about the avoidant attachment style, including what it's like and what you can do if you have it to have better relationships. So stay tuned.